Welcome, everybody, to another edition of uSTADIUM Fantasy Live. Can we cut his camera? Can we do that with that jersey on? There it is. I'm Chris. That's Stefan. We are the team at uSTADIUM for the fantasy football output for all of our viewers and listeners and app downloaders who reach out to us on the app, on Twitter. We're evading TikTok. We're evading the YouTube shorts. We're getting the content out to you guys. Stefan, before we get to you, everybody like the stream, subscribe to the channel, download the app. Everything you need is in the description. And for the month of November, we are brought to you guys by BettorFantasy. It's a new free-to-play app that lets you sync your fantasy football league and bet on your matchups. They have player props as well. You can cash out for gift cards when your bets hit and even help raise money for charity. So at the end of the day, you're really helping people out by using this app. It's a brand new company looking to grow their early adopter community. It's a slick app. It's fun to use. And one of the reasons why we love it is, like I said, they offer prop betting. So if you're in a state that hasn't legalized gambling yet, and it's most likely coming, you can get in on some prop bets on BettorFantasy. Again, it's totally free to play. Download the app today for iPhone and Android. All the links are in the description. Stefan, how's it going, brother?
It's good. I'm ready for another week. Like I said, I've been getting some good bets in for this weekend as well for Sunday. I've had a few successful ones this past week. So I'm trying to ride that hype train in this Sundays, trying to get some good starts. I got another quarterback controversy. I had a freaking Kyler Murray is still not playing for me, so I had to start Big Ben, and then Big Ben goes out on COVID. So I'm torn between Heineke and like Jimmy Garoppolo. So I don't know. Maybe by the end of this show, I'll have a definitive answer like I usually do. So other than that, I can't complain. It's another good Sunday. We're up early.
Good stuff.
I'm getting ready to get at it again.
Let's get at it. We got questions already rolling in. Kevin Clark, thank you for tuning in again, Kevin. We appreciate the support and the questions. Wentz or Hurts? Not sure if I should pick on the matchups. Is there a guy you like over the other?
Wow, we're back at this conversation again, huh? Wentz or Hurts? Honestly, I gotta go Wentz. Wentz has just been consistent with no garbage time. He's been having really good games. His turnover ratio is really, really low. I mean, I think he's got 2 picks on the season, 3 fumbles. So
yeah,
you got
really
5
protecting the ball,
5 total turnovers and about 17 touchdowns, if I'm not right. Wentz all the way. I mean, the matchup speaks volumes against Jacksonville. I don't look at what happened with Jacksonville and Buffalo. It's not going to happen again. It was just one of those crazy, once in a million. I mean, Kansas last night upset Texas as well, and that was a plus 2,100 money line. So it's been a crazy week, but I think it's going to be an easy Wentz, 3 touchdowns, 200-yard day. So
yeah, and Hurts has a more difficult matchup playing Denver, and we just seen what Denver did to Dallas, which is a more high-powered offense than the Philadelphia Eagles are. So, yep, I'm going with Wentz there as well. Thanks for the question, Kevin. Holding Cantor, OBJ, who's just signed with the LA Rams, big NFL news. Unfortunately, Robert Woods tore his ACL on Friday, even finished practice with the torn ACL. I mean, the timing for OBJ, I mean, it's great for him. Feel bad for Robert Woods at the end of the day. Beasley's been catching a massive amount of targets. He's targeted heavy in that offense. When we thought it would be Emmanuel Sanders, it turns out it's Cole Beasley as the wide receiver too. The most attractive thing to me with one or the other here is the full PPR format. I like Beasley. I'm not too sure what I'm going to expect out of OBJ. He's kind of a freelance artist when he runs his routes, and Stafford, we've seen it this past weekend. He's not much of a guy that likes to go off script. He wants to be able to sit in that pocket, throw to you where you're supposed to be. And can OBJ conform to that? I don't know. I don't know what his snap share is going to be. So give me Cole Beasley in this spot.
If this is prior to this Woods injury, give me Cole Beasley hands down.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think at this point they're just gonna toss OBJ in there because I mean they don't got Deshaun Jackson anymore. They don't got Robert Woods. It's Cooper Kupp, the new number 2 for now, Van Jefferson. I think that guy has just been like either tossed in and out of the lineup. It's like, oh, he's the third guy. Oh, now he sucks. I think Ben Jefferson this week might be the guy that like is number 2A and OBJ's 2B, but I think OBJ can have a solid PPR day. I mean, I see Cooper Kupp doing what he does, but OBJ could be a sneaky 15-point guy in PPR flex. So I think I'm going to go to OBJ in this one just because of the Woods injury.
Yeah. I mean, it's tempting not to play OBJ in that spot. New life. God bless, gentlemen. God bless new life. How do you think the Ernest Johnson will do against the Patriots defense?
Are you showing them my script or something? Like
we're posting it on the Twitter before we go here.
I like it. I mean,
yeah, I'm a fan of it as well.
Any Browns running back, it went Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb. Then Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt goes down, and then it's Nick Chubb and Dearness Johnson because Dearness Johnson has that big game. And now Dearness Johnson goes back to his second string. Now he's back to the starter again. Like he's going back and forth. I personally had dropped $70 on him last week on accident. I thought it was 7. Blew my fab on it, and I'm hoping he has a big game. But I think any Browns running back, you get him off the street. Get Trey Richardson back in there. I think he'll do good. So I think Dearness Johnson's solid, another big game, touchdown game, and I think he's a great RB5 on the day. I would give him.
Oh, nice. I mean, the Pats defense is pretty good against the run, so there is going to be a little bit of a setback there for him, but he is the only guy in that backfield, and we've seen what he can do when he is that only guy in the backfield, so he should produce. So I don't like the matchup as much, but I still think he's going to have a good day. Dicer, sup? What's up, Dicer? I'm Seamaster Cervantes on the app. I'm always asking. We appreciate it. We appreciate you always asking on the app. So Kamara out. Don't have much options. Ingram, Javonte, Carter, or Peterson. If we work backwards, I think I'm cutting Peterson and Carter. So it's between Ingram and Javonte. With Kamara being out, Ingram should see a decent work day for the New Orleans Saints against the Tennessee Titans. And then you have Javonte, who's still pretty much splitting snaps with Melvin Gordon. He had his first 100-yard day last weekend, but just based on volume and snap share and opportunity, I'm going Mark Ingram over the others here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have him high on my list. I have him in a lot of bets. I have him in a lot of DFS lineups. Mark Ingram's going to eat. I don't care about Taysom Hill. I think this is the guy they're going to feed the ball to, I think, 15, 20 times. It's going to be vintage New Orleans Saints, Mark Ingram today, I think. And I think outside Javonte Williams, he was a touchdown shy of having like a 20-point day in, PPR. He did have his first 100-yard game, like you said, but I just don't see that volume there because Melvin Gordon's still that pesky, like that tick that doesn't go away, that leash that's just like, yeah, you're going to get like 12 carries, but so am I. So, unless he breaks away and has like a big gain, I don't see Ingram being the one that's the worst out of the group. And Peterson, I'm not a big fan of. Carter, I'm a big fan of, but I can't stop getting me enough of marking him this week.
Yeah, that backfield reminds me of that old Looney Tunes cartoon with the big burly dog and the little yappy dog is just, hey, come on, let's play. And but the big dog, he's there, he's ready to go. Yep. He's the boss, and then Javonte Williams is the little yappy guy who gets in there. I mean, after next season, we're gonna see if Javonte Williams turns into that big dog, which we all expected him to be. But I think we're going to have to wait, unless barring an injury for Gordon, we're going to have to wait until next season to see fully what Javonte can do.
Yeah, Denver is making a lot of fantasy owners mad, but they don't care about our fantasy teams like we always say.
At the end of the day, right? At the end of the day. I mean, they should. It's a big part of the NFL now, but
you should see some of the DMs.
You've seen some of those ref calls. I think they care about their fantasy teams at the end of the day. If Robinson is out, James Robinson, I'm guessing here, PPR, Mark Ingram, Zach Moss, or Adam Thielen. Again, the volume Mark Ingram's going to get it should put him above most of these other guys. Keep an eye on the Robinson injury. If he's in, I'm playing him over these other ones. I probably got Moss third, and so it would go Ingram, Thielen, and Moss for me. Thielen still... He has his up and down games. He can be touchdown dependent, but I just like the volume play for Mark Ingram here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to double down on that one. Mark Ingram is Mark Ingram. Like I said, we're going to be praising him if we see him in the chat. It's just like running back that can catch the ball, that can run the ball. It's just that volume. And I personally would not start James Robinson, even if he's active. I'm not a big fan of a running back being injured all week. Even last week, he was out. He might get, 4 or 5 carries. He might get 10 carries. It might not be pretty. He might get like one of those big rip that might save his day. But to me, I'm going to be cautious on this one and not start James Robinson. And I'm putting Mark Ingram out in any lineup if I can, at RB2 or RB1 sometimes.
Yeah, I like it. Thanks for the question, Mitch. Ramondre Stevenson or Hunter Renfrow in a standard league. I mean, PPR, I think I'm giving the edge to Hunter Renfrow with Damian Harris out. Ramondre Stevenson, has he been cleared? Is it official?
Yep. Actually,
cleared. Is he in the lineup?
Mike Reese just tweeted right now showing Ramondre Stevenson running around on the field. So
in the field, so
in the nick of time, he's
in. So, but I mean, Hunter Renfrow in that offense against Kansas City, it's a plus matchup. This is a tough one for me. Ramondre Stevenson didn't practice all week. He was in the concussion protocol, so I don't know exactly what the outlook for him is going to be on the week. I don't know what the Patriots are planning to do with him. We might see a lot more of Brandon Bolden. We saw what Ramondre could do last week with the snap share that he got, but I'm going Hunter Renfrow here.
I'm going to go Ramondre Stevenson on this one. I'm going to flip them. I saw him last night when I got the notification after the Big Ben. I saw that Harris is out. I zoomed to my waiver wire, saw him sitting there, scooped him up. I think even if he doesn't practice, I think Bill Belichick holds such a tight rope with these guys that we don't have to see them, practice at all for them to play and have a good game. But I'm kind of worried about it. I hope he doesn't take a big hit here and there. But I think Stevenson standard could have a better game. I mean, numbers, volume, I think playmaking ability. I think he's a good running back too in general. I think he has been held back because of that running back room was ugly. There are 4 running backs. You don't know who's going to play. It's like roulette. You don't know what's going to happen. So I think Ramondre Stevenson this week over Hunter Renfrow just because it's standard. But if it was PPR, like you said, I'd go Hunter Renfrow.
Yep, I like it. At XXX Selects, pick 2, PPR, your boy, Brandon Ayuk, Elijah Moore, Eno Benjamin, or Kenny Gainwell. Again, if we're working from the bottom, Kenny Gainwell's in the back. Eno Benjamin might get 8 to 10 carries, so I don't see him having too much of a good day. Corey Davis is doubtful, so I like the spot with Elijah Moore. I don't like the matchup against the Bills. Mike White is throwing the ball, so he does tend to check down a lot, and Elijah Moore is that check down target. And then we have Brandon Ayuk, your boy. So, I mean, if we're picking 2, I think we're going the first 2, yeah?
I mean, yeah, it's getting to the point where it's like last year, we just praise Ayuk. We're like, oh, he's such a good talent. What's going on? And then just like every other year or the last 2 years, oh, hey, I'm here. And then now it seems like he's carving his role back out. It seems like he's out of the doghouse. It just the last 2 games seem like he's back. Yeah. Elijah Moore, same thing. Elijah Moore is like springing out. I think Mike White is a gunslinger. If I had to choose 2, I think for me it'd be Ayuk and Elijah Moore because I'm not going with Philadelphia's running back group. I had a Philadelphia Eagles player on my starter sit list, and I purposely was like, no, I'm not gonna go through with it. So, and Eno Benjamin, it's the James Conner show. I think this week, like I said last week on the show, 85% of that snap share is gonna go to James Conner. I think he gets 15% of it. Eno Benjamin, he doesn't do what he did last week. He's not gonna lay out this guy's life and just make him all over. We should make a shirt about that last truck he had last week, but this week. You should stash him on your bench.
Yeah, I agree with that. Kyler Murray and Nuke Hopkins are both true game time decisions. They're going to be testing those guys out before the game. Shed Sports, any value daily fantasy plays for you?
I mean, outside of Mark Ingram, Heineke against a porous Tampa Bay, defense. Deante Johnson's got a really, really juicy matchup. I know Rudolph is throwing him the ball. I know Chase Claypool's out. If you want to stack maybe like a Mark Ingram and then go for like a Najee or Deante Johnson. If you want like a Tyler Johnson, Brady, Tyler Johnson, duo. Godwin's expected to play, but he's like playing kind of like injured, so it might open the role. They haven't activated Scotty Miller back yet. So if I had to choose one, I might go like a Tyler Johnson, Brady. I might go, even Ramondre Stevenson and just stack him with like a higher end quarterback that's going to get you 3 touchdowns. So I think those are some guys.
Yeah, I like Deonte Harris as a value play for DFS. He's done a lot with the snap share that he has. 7+ targets in the past 2 games. You're going to get him at a good value price, and he's playing against the last place team, the 31st team ranked against the wide receivers, letting up the most points to the wide receivers on the season in the Tennessee Titans. So that's a nice little guy that you can put on your lineup that maybe not too many people will have and could put you over the edge. Triple X Lex, Judy or Devonta Smith in flex. Ooh, I think I'm going Judy here. I
think so too. I think Devonta Smith had his breakout game last week. You know, he heard us talking on the show 2 weeks ago that he wasn't going to do anything, and next thing you know, he goes off. I think Judy's back to form. I think the injury is out of the way. I think that little ankle is nothing. I think Cortland Sutton is like a victim to Jerry Jeudy, and I think Jerry Jeudy is just going to be the guy the second half of the season that goes off. Devonta Smith, I'm just not too trusting on the Philadelphia offense. Like you said, if it's not garbage time, Jalen Hurts isn't doing anything with it. So it's too much of a risk.
Yep. Who are your QB1, RB1, wide receiver 1, and tight end 1 on the week? Do you got yours? You got yours locked in? You know what? I'm gonna go QB1, Carson Wentz, RB1. This is based on where I think they're going to finish. So I think Carson Wentz is going to finish as QB1 versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. I got Najee Harris finishing as RB1 based on the fact that Ben Roethlisberger is out and they're just going to feed the man. Wide receiver 1, give me Tyreek Hill versus the Las Vegas Raiders. And tight end 1 is going to be a tricky one, but I'm taking Darren Waller in that matchup.
I'm going Tom Brady, Jonathan Taylor, the leading rusher in the NFL.
It's hard not to.
I think Justin Jefferson. It was weird. They were talking about giving Justin Jefferson more touches in that offense. I think this is the week because every time we hear someone's going to get more touches, that smells like a breakout game. And then tight end, I'm going to go Waller on that one. It's just too much of a matchup to stay away from him because if it was Andrews, yeah, but I don't know. Waller, I think, is due for one of those like 20 catches, 200, like a big game.
One of those big games. I agree. One last question, guys. Denver D versus the Philadelphia Eagles, or Titans D versus the Saints. Thank you for your help. I personally like the Denver D versus the Eagles. Their passing game isn't that prolific. Their running game can be stymied by the Denver defense. So if Patrick Surtain matches up against Devonta Smith, I like that. They know each other. They've played against each other. So that's a matchup I'm looking forward to watching. So give me the Denver D over the Titans D, just because the Titans D against the pass is atrocious.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that Titans defense. Even in the offseason, I'm like, nah, I don't trust it. I had high hopes for Denver's defense. They did come down a little bit more, but I would say Denver defense without a doubt.
Yeah. Thank you, Dicer. Corey Johnson, pick 2, Elijah Moore, T.Y. Hilton, Donovan Peoples-Jones. I like the matchup with T.Y. Hilton and Peoples-Jones more than I like the matchup of Elijah Moore. The biggest thing for me with Elijah Moore is that he is going to be that safety net, that safety blanket for Mike White. The Jets have more of an opportunity to be in the position of playing in garbage time, which for fantasy managers is the time that you could either lose or win matchups.
Yep.
But if I'm picking 2 here, I'm going TY and I'm going DPJ, Donovan Peoples-Jones.
I'm going to go with your first or the second one is DPJ and then Elijah Moore. I think Elijah Moore is just it's just going to be like that garbage time stuff. I think he does eat a little bit. I think they do beat them, but I think like they at least hang up 21 on them. I think it's going to be like a Buffalo beatdown because they had a bad game last week. So I don't expect it to happen.
They're coming off of it. Yeah.
And I think Mike White's going to sling 1 or 2 because Elijah Moore has been getting more and more comfortable, more and more familiar with that offense. And it looks like he's connecting more with anyone else that's not named Zach Wilson. So as long as he's not playing quarterback, it looks like Elijah Moore is going to eat. So
yeah, I don't hate it, man.
TY, really.
No?
I love him. You know, I want him to be the TY that led the league in receiving yards years ago. But like, it just these injuries keep on coming up, and he's starting to actually become more of one of the most injury-prone players, but with a huge upside. Like when he plays, he's gonna be great. But like, is he gonna play a whole game? Is he gonna be out? So like, I just learned to stray away from him recently and just go the Michael Pittman route.
Yep, I don't hate it, man. Pittman's a boss. Isaiah Craig, OBJ? Yes, OBJ is gonna play on Monday night for the Rams. I don't know what to expect. I don't know the amount that he's going to be on the field. I mean, the Robert Woods injury is kind of going to be like a baptism by fire thing that he's going to have to play. They're going to put him out there. So he could see a massive amount of targets in that offense, or he could just go out there and just get his feet under him, learn the offense, get some of the verbiage in the huddle, be part of the team. So I don't know what to expect out of him. I kind of got him projected at about 6 targets, 3 catches and 40-something yards, just because I don't want to project him too high, just because of the fact that I just don't know what he's going to be in that offense. We know what Robert Woods was, but we know what OBJ can be, but can he be that in that Rams offense? I don't know.
Exactly. I mean, it's OBJ. So, I mean, he's a good player, but it's a team that it's a very complex offense. I mean, it looks easy because they're scoring many, many touchdowns, but the way that Sean McVay runs his team, they all like on the same page. OBJ could be going out there, decoy, get a little chemistry here and there. But like you said, I don't expect anything big, but I do expect big things going forward now. I expect him to get his act together, get it all straight. Like, this is your opportunity to go out and be on a championship offense. And if you blow it, you're going to be labeled a bust at this point. And that this is it. This is like one of his last stops. Like, you can't make it work here. And you just give you a gift from the NFL gods to start as a receiver too. This is going to be it. This is make or break for OBJ. And I think he's going to make it. I think he's going to do enough just to get by. He's not going to be like the craziest, numbers, but I think he's going to do just enough for the Rams to be in contention all day or all year.
Yeah, and they might end up force feeding the guy just to get him acclimated to the offense, just to get him feeling good, get his morale up, let him know that he's wanted there. So they might end up force feeding him. Breaking news:
keep the nets away.
Yeah, exactly. James Robinson is active, so proceed with caution. We heard Steph talk about him. We don't know what his usage is going to be. I personally, for one, I'm starting him because he is the motor in that offense. We've seen Carlos Hyde with the opportunity. Didn't run with the ball too much like we were hoping for, but I like James Robinson. He is the kind of like the defining factor for that offense as it goes. But so he's active. There's a couple other outs we'll get to before we get to our start sits. Alvin Kamara is out. Ben Roethlisberger, Zach Wilson, Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, Chase Claypool, Damian Harris, Nick Chubb, and Robert Woods are all out. Any fantasy takeaways from Thursday night? Jacoby Brissett isn't that good.
Where's Mike Gesicki? What happened?
Yeah. Brother, 7 or 8 targets and not a catch. It was
Hollywood Brown reverted back to his no hands days, 13 targets, and you had how many catches? Oh,
but big positive for that Baltimore offense, Rashad Bateman, man.
Oh my God, he almost
most of his targets came within the last 2 minutes of the game. The Baltimore Ravens got to see that, and they got to start implementing him in the offense earlier in the game. He had 8 targets, 6 catches, and I think 80 yards. So he can be a factor for the Baltimore Ravens in their playoff run, in their Super Bowl run. So they got to get that kid the ball. He's electric.
Especially since Hollywood Brown is dropping 6 catches. Like that's I don't know. Just when we got high on him, he does that. Bateman, if you're the Ravens, splash, hit him up, whatever you want to do. Get this guy the ball earlier in the game, and he'll have 12 catches on 15 targets. He'll catch the ball unlike some people on that team.
Yep, exactly. Again, everyone tuning in, like the stream, subscribe to the channel, download the uSTADIUM app and the BettorFantasy app. BettorFantasy is a new free-to-play app that lets you sync your fantasy football league and bet on those matchups. You can cash out for gift cards with your bets and even help raise money for charity along the way. It's available for both iPhone and Android in all 50 states. Corey Johnson, Flex, I'm guessing it's Ty Johnson or Antonio Gibson. Man, this is a tricky one. Any other week, I give it to Gibson, but versus the Buccaneers run defense, I just don't see it happening. He's a sit of ours. We'll get into him a bit in a little later here, but I like what Ty Johnson's been producing in that Jets offense. If there's one I like over the other this week, give me Ty Johnson. As that makes you feel to say, but
I mean, you're looking at top 4, top 3, whatever, the best run defense. Like their pass defense, whatever, you could pass on them, whatever. You look at their run defense, Gibson has nothing this year. What has Gibson done? He was supposed to be the second coming of CMC. Not in DC.
No, not with McKissick there.
Exactly. Sure. And Ty Johnson is basically the McKissick. I mean, he's going to take away the catches. If they're down in a lot of games, which they usually are, and especially in this one, Ty Johnson can see the garbage time touchdown, the garbage time, 4 or 5 catches. Gibson, there's nothing positive. I can't find one good thing to say about him right now because the season disappointed, and this week is one of the toughest matchups of the year. So I'm okay with sitting him.
I agree. Mike Bagdadlian. Morning, guys. Morning, Mike. Dak or Stafford? And then wide receiver pick 2, Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, A.J. Brown, or Hunter Renfrow. I like Stafford in this spot. I think they can finish right around the same spot. So I don't think you can go wrong with one over the other. I don't think that Dak's going to have 6 more points than Stafford, or Stafford's going to have 10 more points than Dak. So they're ranked right around the same spot. So I don't really think you can go wrong with either or. As for the wide receiver, I'm going to go A.J. Brown and Keenan Allen in this spot. The past couple weeks, Keenan Allen has seen double-digit targets. So give me that in that offense. And then with Julio ending up on the IR, and Derrick Henry still out, I think they're just going to force feed A.J. Brown. So he's going to see an abundance of volume in that Tennessee Titans room. The matchup isn't the greatest against the Saints, but again, volume. Give me the volume. I'm taking A.J. Brown and Keenan Allen.
Give me some Dak. Give me some Dakota Rain. That's his full name too. So
I like it.
I like it. I mean, I had him last week. I mean, it was pennies. When we had the Dak Stafford thing last week with Will, I took Dak. He had the garbage time stuff. I think Dak this week is the week he wakes up and goes, "Wow, we got blown out by Denver." That's still 3 touchdowns. I think the weapons are all there. I know that Stafford lost Woods, so it kind of hurts. That's why I kind of have him just a little bit lower. And I would say Hunter Renfrow and A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's gonna be thrown to the ground. It's going to be 12 targets a game, I feel like, going forward. Julio Jones just doesn't want to stay healthy. And I think they've got Nicole Westbrook is the only guy outside of that, and they released Josh Reynolds. So it just looks like a A.J. Brown rest of the season thing, second half of the season kind of a guy. So give me Brown, Renfrow, and give me Dak Prescott.
All right. I like it. All right, let's get into a few of our starts and sits before at the 45-minute mark at 11:45. We're going to have Sean from Better Fantasy come in. He's going to break down some of our matchups. We're going to talk some props coming into the week. Will last week was 2 for 3 in the props. We all thought Matt Stafford was a smash at the 20, except you, baby. Yeah, okay, at the 20 over. But so we're gonna have those guys. So make sure you're sticking in for that, and then we'll go from there. So one of your starts this week, a guy that's been thrust into opportunity. We've seen what he can do when he was thrust into opportunity prior in the season. But one of your running back starts this week is Cleveland Brown running back Dearnest Johnson. Let us know why we are starting Dearnest Johnson versus the New England Patriots.
Well, I think Dearnest earned it after his last game against Denver. His last full start, this guy had 22 carries, $146 in a touchdown, and he had 2 catches for 22 yards. I say it every time. I'm going to keep saying it till the death of me. The Cleveland offense just loves to have running backs. You can throw anybody on that team. They're going to do good. Kareem Hunt, great. Nick Chubb, great. Deante Johnson, great. It's just like a revolving door, whoever's there. Dearness Johnson has that Nick Chubb ability, but he also has that Kareem Hunt versatility. It's crazy how good this guy is, and yet no team wanted to sign him. It's like I don't know. It was crazy. So I think he gets a full workload. I think he gets a touchdown. I think he gets over 100 yards, and they give him 25 carries. So it's Dearness Johnson all day.
I like it. The Ernest Johnson. I mean, there's no one else there. Felton ended up on the COVID list. Chubb ended up on the COVID list. And so did John Kelly ended up on the COVID list. The Ernest, I mean, he tested negative twice, which is why he's vaccinated. He tested negative twice, is why he's playing. He was close contact during the week, but I think I love the start of the Ernest Johnson this week. One of my running back starts for the week, none other. We just talked about him a bit earlier. Javonte Williams of the Denver Broncos versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Finally putting it down on the ground. Javonte hit his first 100-yard game last week versus Dallas. I mean, I think the game script had a bit to play in that, given that they were up a lot early. So they lightened the workload of Mel Gordon just a little bit. But this dude, with the limited opportunity that he has, he's leading the league in broken tackles. He's coming off. Coming on in the second half of the season. He should absolutely be a trade target for you, as the Broncos have the easiest strength of schedule for the running back down the stretch. This week, Philly, then a bye. Then he's got the Chargers, Chiefs, Lions, Bengals, Raiders, and Chargers. So his playoff matchups are Bengals, Raiders, and Chargers, all plus matchups. Like I said, he's doing the most with the limited snap share he is playing with. He's averaging 10.6 fantasy points per game. The Eagles this week are a plus matchup. They're ranked 29th in the league for points allowed by the RB position. This guy is 8th in breakaway runs, and he plays a limited amount of the snaps. He's already got 6, so the big playability is there. He's 16th in yards at 466. He's still being outtouched by Mel Gordon over the past 2 weeks, 31-26, but he's outrushing him. So he has more rush yards over the past 2 weeks over Mel Gordon, and he is a bigger play threat than Mel Gordon is. Ultimately, both RBs this week are plays versus a porous Eagles run defense, but if you have them, you're putting them in, man. You're putting in Javonte Williams. You're starting that engine.
I mean, I have the Joe Mixon on a bye week, so like I have to start Javonte Williams. And when I saw Philadelphia, I'm like, Philly. Oh yes, this is it. This has to be the one that he does it, right?
Yeah. He's got, and again, I mean, I like it.
What are your stats for him?
My projection, I got him at 11 carries, 86 yards, and a touchdown.
I want all of that.
Decent day. Okay, let's get into a couple sits here, Steph. One of your Jonnu Smith is inactive. So if you have Hunter Henry, you might want to think about putting him in there. This guy's been a consensus sit, but we are going to bang this drum until you guys either drop him or keep him out of your lineups. And it's running back for the Atlanta Falcons, Mike Davis.
Mike who?
Who?
Not Mike Jones.
Not Mike Jones, man. Not Mike Jones.
But I mean, let's be serious, because this is a tragedy. I mean, Mike Davis was supposed to be it. We saw week 1. We thought it was. This guy has been nothing but capped. He's had 9 carries a game the last 3 games per average. He averaged 12.4 in the first 4 weeks, and then I don't know what happened. Oh, actually, I do know what happened. My boy came onto the scene and said, "Hey, this is how you run the ball." Cordero Patterson ran his spot. I don't know why they keep feeding Mike Davis. I guess they have to just give him, here and there, but it doesn't look good. It's atrocious. Like I can't even sit there and tell you the last time he had a 100-yard day, because he hasn't this season. Yeah. I can't sit there and tell you the last time he had a 50-yard game, because he only had 2 this season.
And he's had the opportunities, right? They've given him the ball. He's just not doing anything with it.
I don't know who robbed us of the 2020 Mike Davis that we saw in the Carolina Panthers? Who robbed us and gave us this imposter, this phony of a running back? Like, a lot of people drafted him in the 5th round, like, oh, the no RB strategy, like, oh, this is a great 1,000-yard back. I don't know. He's averaging what? they said 8.4 carries a game, and he's doing nothing. He hasn't had a 50-yard game. He hasn't had a 30-yard game. I'm cutting Mike Davis. I'm not even benching him. I don't want him anywhere on my team. Give him someone else, have him be his headache. I'm taking Cordero Patterson like I always do. And it's just, if you see Mike Davis out there, someone please have him contact us. Tell him what happened. Let's know what's going on, man. Because a lot of high hopes, and you know what?
The Monstar stole his juju, man.
And if you have him on your team, guys, just stop. I'm just gonna tell you, PSA, drop Mike Davis. Drop him. Just let him.
And it's hard to do because he is the starting running back for that team, but I mean, he's been useless. So we're sitting Mike D. I like it. I've liked it all year. Sit Mike D. I'm just gonna get into my sit here, and then we'll pop into some more questions before we get Sean from Better In. I'm sitting Jakobi Meyers this week versus Cleveland. Jakobi. Will he break the streak? I'm hoping by having him in my sits this week that he can get that elusive TD. I'm hoping I'm doing the reverse psychology for Jakobi Meyers, but I don't think it's happening. The Jakobi watch has been fun every week. So the Cleveland Browns have allowed an average of 1 receiving TD to the wide receiver through the season. Myers last week was a complete bust. 1 catch, 4 targets for only 8 yards. He barely broke the 1 point mark. If you started him in a standard league, he only got you 0.8. He didn't even get the catch value there. The guy, and he just isn't targeted in the red zone. Of all his 72 targets on the season, only 6 of those have come within the 20, and he has only caught 3 of them. So that's a small percentage of targets that he is seeing in that money zone. As a fantasy owner, you want to have the wide receivers or the tight ends or the running backs that are heavily involved in the red zone scheme for their teams. And Jakobi Meyers, he just isn't that guy for the New England Patriots. They'd rather throw it to their tight ends. They'd rather dump it off to their running backs, or Nelson Aguilar's even caught a TD this year. Kendrick Bourne has caught TDs. But Jakobi just isn't that guy in the red zone. He isn't that guy in the end zone. So if he averaged even half a TD per game, his floor alone would constitute a start every week. But he's not averaging that, as he has none on the season. His average for TDs on the season, do you know what it is? It's 0 because he's got absolutely nothing. My week 10 projection, 4 catches, 45 yards, good enough for 6.5 half point PPR points. So another slow day for Jakobi. Let's get into some more questions before we get to the Better Fantasy. Got any? Okay. Triple X Lex, Alex Collin, Mike Davis, Eno, or Pollard this week. PPR. Ezekiel Elliott is active. I just got the news notification come across my screen. So Pollard's going to take a step back. Eno Benjamin as well. I got him at about 8 to 10 carries. So he's not going to have a full workload. If Kyler Murray comes in, I think I'm taking Eno even more of a step back. If it's Colt McCoy, I could see him get a little more playing time there. Mike Davis is a sit for us. And then you have Alex Collins. I like the Alex Collins play here. If you were able to grab him on your waivers this past week because he's coming off the bye and maybe some other owners dropped him, the guy's coming off a 2 TD game. Chris Carson, I believe, is still out. He's still not playing. So Alex Collins is the play for me out of these 4.
Oh, and actually, Anthony McFarland just got a healthy scratch. So Najee Harris is going to feast against the worst team.
Not that McFarland was a factor either way, but still, I mean, 100% of the workload for Najee.
Oh man, I do think the Lions. I had a few parlays I put in. I do think the Lions are gonna have to cover the spread or upset the Steelers. Like they're dropping like flies right now.
Games, right?
Exactly.
No Roethlisberger. No.
They got to win one game. It's one game. I don't care if they go 1-17. If they can or 16, if they can beat the Steelers, I'll be a happy man.
I like it. Thank you, Craps Teacher, for the super chat. We appreciate you. Appreciate you tuning in week and week out. All love there, Craps Teacher. Kevin Clark, play 2 out of Thielen, Stevenson, and Robinson, who is going to play. This is a tricky one. It's a tricky spot with Adam Thielen. You mentioned earlier in the show that Justin Jefferson is supposed to be targeted more. So is that going to open up Thielen a bit more? I'm not too sure. Ramondre and JJ Taylor are both were both seen on the field for the Patriots. I got this feeling that this is going to be one of those trap plays for Ramondre Stevenson starters where they're expecting him to go big because Harris is out and what he did last week. And then the Patriots are just totally going to go another way and JJ Taylor's going to be the guy. I don't know what to do with that Patriots backfield. When Harris is in, it's Harris, but the other guys, it's too tough to predict. So I like Robinson and I like Thielen.
I'm starting to second guess myself now. I was so ready to say Stevenson 100%, but you're right. That backfield is weird. But then again, I have my superstition about the injuries. James Robinson could play a whole full workload. He could play nothing. I'm gonna go out on the limb. I'm gonna say Thielen and I'm gonna say Stevenson. Stevenson, please. I supported New England for a long time because of number 12. Just give me 1 week where you just put up at least 15 points. Just make me look smart. Telling Kevin this so he could look back and go, this guy knew what he was talking about.
I like it. Mike B, Flex, Renfro, Ernest Johnson, or Terry McLaurin. It's hard not to say Terry McLaurin in this spot, but I like Ernest Johnson over the other two.
I think they're gonna shut down Scary Terry. I think at least their one plan of action for that defensive or that DB group is to stop them. And I think Sherman is active. So I think they'll probably have him shadowing Terry. Ernest Johnson, it's just one of those volume, juicy matchups that you just know the kid's going to eat.
Yeah.
So I can't shy away from Ernest Johnson at all this week. I think I'm just everywhere I see him, I want to start him. DFS lineup, start him. Redraft league, start him. This is the week for him. And the next week you can ditch him, but not this week.
I like it. Thanks for tuning in, Mike. Corey Johnson, AP or Gibson? Oh, man.
What's the difference?
Yeah, really. Like, what are we expecting out of one over the other? Are we expecting a bigger day for Adrian Peterson over Gibson? I honestly don't know what to expect out of either. Gibson, the only plus for him is that he's younger, he's fresher, but he is coming off that injury. He is coming off the bye, but he's playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who have one of the top stuffing run defenses in the league. The running backs that do have success versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is the pass catching running back, and Gibson isn't that guy in that offense. It's JD McKissic. So if there's a running back that's going to have success in this game, to me, it's going to be McKissic over Gibson. So, I mean, are you starting, if you were in this spot to start Adrian Peterson, who just came off his couch, or Antonio Gibson, who's playing with a somewhat fractured shin, which one are you taking?
This is I wouldn't want to wish this my worst enemy. I think AP. I might shoot myself in the foot for this one. I think AP. It's the matchup's easier. I think he's another week into the offense, and they gave him a touchdown. They gave him most of the carries. It was 12 to I think 7 for Jeremy McNichols, and then it was 5 for D'Onta Foreman. I think D'Onta Foreman makes more of a splash this week, but I think AP just gives them that workhorse. McNichols, Foreman are not those guys. I think AP just by a hair. I'm not even confident in saying AP or Gibson. It's just if I had to choose, I'm going AP. Matchup's better. Gibson's going against the Bucs. I mean, I'm wearing a jersey. I can't really preach it much. I mean, I'm not trying to sound biased, but the numbers speak numbers, and Gibson has been hot garbage. I'm gonna take that. And AP, get you a touchdown, 15 carries, maybe 60 yards, but that's the best I can give you advice on that one. That's a tough one.
Yeah, it's tricky, man. It's almost like it's just they're both not in favorable matchups.
Yeah.
They both have their issues. I mean, it's AP's second game. I don't really if there's one I think that's going to get a touchdown over the other one, I think maybe AP gets the touchdown that saves his day. Gibby hasn't scored a touchdown since week 5, so maybe he's due for one. I don't know what to expect. I mean, Tyler Heineke had the Bucks hanging by on the edge last year in the playoffs. So,
on the edge of glory.
Yeah, we could see that same thing happen this week, but I doubt it. All right, let's get in. Let's bring in Sean from Better Fantasy. Again, Better Fantasy is a new free-to-play app that lets you sync your fantasy football matchups. Sync your fantasy football league, bet on your fantasy football matchups. I'm having a lot of fun with it this past couple of weeks. You can cash out for gift cards, which is huge, but even better, you can donate. They're donating to charity with the winnings. It's available for iPhone and Android. The links are in the bio. So go download today. I mean, I love it because it adds another tool to my shit talking toolbox when I'm favored by +30. So I enjoyed. Sean, how's it going, brother?
Good. What's up, guys? How are we doing today?
Good. I mean, it's snowing where I am, so not really that good. Not looking forward to winter, but other than that, I'm doing swell, man.
We're in the heart of the football season, though. The seasons are changing and starting to get cold. This is when the real boys come to play.
That's it. The one thing I'm going to miss, though, is the cold weather games where people are scared to hit Derrick Henry because it's just too cold and they just don't want to take him down. So I'm gonna miss those. Hopefully a JT or Najee Harris can bring that into the football game for us a little bit, but we'll see. I got a matchup, or one of my matchups this week we could talk about. I want to get your take on it and see where you think I'm going to go. If we could pull that up, Splash, please. So here it is. I'm the Murder Hornets. I'm in third spot. I'm playing the first place or second place team here. I am a bit of a favorite. Can we just see the lineup a bit?
Should be the view roster right underneath it.
Here comes the bragging right here. Ready for it?
Murder Hornets. First one, intimidating team names. You already get plus 5 points just for that.
Exactly. And the star beside it means defending champion. So just so everyone
That's like Willie. You had him last week. He always has champ or champ's revenge or something like that because he always wants to reap 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. You have to. Yeah, especially it's a dynasty league. So if you could put that star up on there, I mean, the deeper these dynasty leagues go, the harder it gets to get those chips.
That's a good lineup though for a dynasty league. Damn.
Yeah, that's deep.
Yes, sir.
That is absolutely deep. So one of the few things that I like sticking out. So your wide receiving core. So I know you got some low projections for Sanders and Gage, but even so, Matt Ryan I feel like is going to have a hell of a game just against the Cowboys alone, just due to the simple matchup. And then Sanders is playing against the Jets. I mean, there's no way that they're going to have the same exact week that they had against the Jaguars, just going right for it.
So, please, God, no.
Yeah. They're going to come out with truculence, as we like to say.
Yeah, I got you. Hell of a quarterback matchup, though, going at it. But I'm looking at both. So 2 QBs, Baker and Cousins, and then Tannehill and Brady. I want to say that you don't have the QB matchup for today, just because Tom is going to go absolutely off against the Redskins.
Go bananas. Oh, yeah.
I think we could all agree on that. And I'm just looking at your other Melvin Gordon. So I'm an Eagles guy. So I know that the run game is going to come to us big time today. So Javonte is going to have a game. Melvin's going to have a game. If they feed them, I feel like they're going to be completely fine. We're horrible as a rushing defense. Horrible from a rushing standpoint. But through and through, I mean, what do you feel like is going to be the hardest take between both of them? I want to say maybe just tight ends alone. That's about it. Everything else is through and through.
I do have Kamara. It's unfortunately that he's out. I mean, having him in a spot like this would have been very helpful for me. But Stefan's guy, Cordero Patterson, has been balling out for the Falcons, took over the backfield, took over the wide receiver room as well. I mean, we're just expecting the guy to throw the ball soon and take over the quarterback.
It's going to happen this season, one game. It's going to happen. And a kick return.
I'm surprised they're not putting him as a linebacker or a corner either. I mean, the amount of positions this guy's playing. He's like the Taysom Hill, but better version for the Atlanta Falcons.
He's the on-brand Taysom Hill.
How great of a story, though, for him, too. Hopping around, 5-6 teams and then finding his place, no problem.
Finally, and the fantasy story, everyone's like, oh, Cordero Patterson, why would you spend your fab on this guy? And like everyone's just trash talking. They had that 3-touchdown game. It's like, oh, it's a fluke. He's not going to do anything. And the next thing you know, he's like, wait a minute. RB 15 on the season, receiver like 40 on the season. It's like, what's going on? He's 30 years old. Like, what? It's
in regards to Amari and CeeDee. So you got one, he's got the other.
Yeah.
I feel like every other week it could be one guy goes off versus the other. For whatever reason, I've got CeeDee Lamb on my team. I feel like he's more susceptible to having like that 4 reception, but 3 touchdown and 120-yard game. But Cooper is going to get the targets and the reception on top of that.
I like the corner matchup for Amari Cooper over CeeDee Lamb. I feel we might see AJ Terrell on CeeDee Lamb a lot this game, and AJ Terrell's points per game on average, he's only allowing 8.8 points to the wide receivers on the season. Whereas Amari Cooper's should be shadowed by Fabian Morrow, who's letting up a 15.3 points per game to the wide receiver on the season. So I like the matchup there. Give me the Cooper over CeeDee matchup. I think they both have the opportunity to go off this week. I think I got him in the wide receiver category. I just traded for Evans this past week. I did have to get rid of some Devy players, so it hurt me a bit for my future. But I mean, the goal for fantasy sports is you play to win the game, right? Hello.
You play.
You gotta win.
Hello. I don't play to draft. I don't play to acquire draft picks and all that, man. I play to win. So
you are like the LA Rams in your fantasy league. You want to acquire who you can when you can, because you don't care if you don't win in 3 years. You're winning this year.
Yeah, I want to win. I want to win a lot, and I want to win often. So I appreciate your insight, but if you're picking one over the other here, which one you got?
I've got you through and through. I feel like that's awesome. An easy take. So if I were to look at just the spread alone, what is that? 6 points and change?
Yeah, 6.7, 6.5. Yeah.
I'd even consider taking that. You have higher upside with players that could go off on a single day. Money line alone, -190, that's fine. Like I have no problem taking that if I want to, choke up some extra change. But even 6.5 plus PPR, I think you're fine.
Yes, sir. I
All
agree.
good to go. And if you want to look at it in a different sense too, we just launched pick'em pools today.
Yeah.
For the app, so you can actually look at those matchups throughout your entire league. Just simply pick the winner for who you think is gonna win, and it's thrown into a pool with the rest of your league mates. Person with the most picks rights win the better bucks, the better chunk of change at the end of the day.
Okay.
Oh, that's the pick'em pools is based on your fantasy league, not the. Oh, okay. Yeah, I like that.
So
I like that.
It gives you a little more engagement within your league. Yeah. So it requires you to sync or have at least 4 other league mates on the platform in order for it to be, unlocked for you to use. But this way you get to look at all the fantasy matchups, you get to look at all the players. Gives you a different way of just looking at it rather than just making a single bet on a team.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Okay.
Man.
Yeah. Steph, do you have a matchup that you want to highlight for us?
Actually, I'm not able to sync my Yahoo league in there. I don't know why. But actually, the matchup I was looking for you, though, is I think I'm taking your over in that one as well. I was looking at the 172. I think you might. I think I'm going to go over 172
with the tight end premium as well. So
I just see receivers going for like 100 points. Like you have Cooper Kupp, you have Tyreek Hill, Mike Evans. I think at least 25 points apiece for those guys. So like, if I was a betting man, and we are degenerates with it, so I take the over all day. I can't do good with the spreads. Kill me. They bite me. They always like come back and like, oh, the 6-point spread, and it ends up being a 5-point. So I try to stay away from spreads because I've not had a good.
One of the big things in fantasy this year, which I've just seen the trend with monitoring the matchups within the platform and stuff, the over's been killer. So there's been so many teams that have gone nuts, but I feel like you're gonna have lopsided teams. You're gonna have teams that are gonna go insane. Then you have teams that are gonna put up, 60 burger on the week. And I'm one of them. Unfortunately. That's part of it.
You don't live long enough to bet the under, I always say. Just always bet the over.
Who's not cheering for points, right?
Yeah, really too much anxiety. You're like, no, don't score. And then you're like, oh, you need to score. You're just going back and forth. And I'd rather just have a high-scoring game every week.
I like it. Sean, do you want to get into some questions from some of the viewers?
Yeah, sure. Let's fire them up.
Yeah, let's fire them up. Dicer, I already accepted my loss.
Oh, it's not even 12.
He's got Brady, Hollywood, who already played, AJ Brown, Najee, Ingram, Kelsey, Tucker, and the Titans D, which is not a bad lineup at all. Yeah. And he's playing Wentz, Cordero Patterson, CeeDee Lamb, Jonathan Taylor, James Conner, Darren Waller, Pittman, Butker and the Rams D. Do I have a shot? I definitely think you have a shot. If Hollywood had a bit of a better day on Thursday, it would have gave you more of a shot. But you have a lot of high volume players on your team. AJ Brown should eat. Najee should eat. Ingram should see a nice amount of share. And then you have Travis Kelce. And then you got K1 and Justin Tucker. So definitely got a chance. What do you guys think?
As ugly as it might look, I mean, you've got a really good chance. I mean, he does have Wentz. I'm high in Wentz. I'm high in Taylor, Pittman, Waller. I mean, it's really high, like sexy names, but you don't know. I mean, fantasy is weird. I wouldn't accept it anytime before 1 o'clock, but I've seen the craziest thing happen with the best teams. It's been a weird year, so don't count your losses before they hatch, because you're gonna come in this show next week like, oh my god, I thought I lost and I actually ended up winning by like 5 points. I like it. I mean, I like it though.
And I feel like alone, like so, what sticks out to me, AJ Brown has control over getting catches. Today Najee is going to eat like crazy because he has sole control over that offense. If you think Mason Rudolph is going to go off, Rudolph there's no way, man. So
his value is going to come from dumping it off to Najee.
Yeah, he definitely has a shot though. Like, I wouldn't count that out, but those are so many big names. Like, everybody's going to have a big day with the opportunity, handed to them.
Yeah, exactly. Noah, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it. Thanks for winning me my matchup last week. Anytime. Hopefully we help you win your matchup this week, as wins, especially right now, this time of season, are of the utmost importance to get you into the playoffs. BK7, should I trade Eckler and Deontay for Dalvin Cook and Jamar Chase? What do you guys think?
Ooh.
Just thinking about the garbage going on with Dalvin, like who knows what's going to happen. That's a risk alone, but Jamar Chase is just a freak of nature, and he's just absolutely exceeding expectations this year.
Oh yeah,
but Eckler, like, sure, you had an off week against, the bum Eagles, but, even so, though, like, you're going to live and die by him no matter what. Like, I'd be loyal to him every single week, as opposed to trying to ride on Dalvin Cook to, stay out of, criminal activity. But I don't know. That's tough to choke up. You'd have to weigh that out at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, I'm trying to look at it. I'm trying to find like a one-sided winner. I mean, Jamar Chase, Deante Johnson are basically going to be like similar. They're having crazy good years. The whole Dalvin Cook situation does scare me, but I think Eckler, I don't know. Dalvin Cook is good. I don't want to disrespect him. He's still going to produce, but I'm going to have to say the Eckler, Deante Johnson, I'd rather keep that. I mean, Deante is the number one guy, regardless of who's playing. Eckler is going to be a stud. He's a matchup-proof guy. You don't ever want to bench Eckler. Dalvin Cook and Jamar Chase, I think I'm just going to pass on those. It's very, very tempting. It's a very even trade. It's just not with my liking for the rest of the season.
Yeah, like, I feel like you can make that choice to try and, make your team better if it's an even overlap with, some upside somewhere. But, I mean, it's really no change. You could be loyal to Eckler, Deontay every single week.
Exactly.
I like it. Yep. Thank you, BK. Mike Casianco, Tannehill or Russell Wilson? I'm taking Russ this week. I love the matchup over the Tannehill matchup versus the Saints. So give me Russell Wilson over Tannehill. We agree?
Yeah. I'm with you.
It's coming back. They're going to let him cook. Oh, you're not? You don't like it, Steph?
No, I'm taking Ryan Tannehill just this week. I think the matchup against the Saints is going to be more of a explosive like shootout. I think he's just going to be in that. I don't know what the status on Russ's finger is. He's good. I know he got the pin out. You know how I am about the injuries 1 week.
Yeah,
I think he'll have a good game. I just think the Packers might be just too much for that Seattle offense, and that defense is going to get cooked.
Pun intended. BK7, do I still start Deontay over Sutton? Or a couple of people I could pick up are Elijah Moore, Christian Kirk, Emmanuel Sanders, Russell Gage, and Jacoby Myers. I'm starting Deontay over Sutton. I know Mason Rudolph is the quarterback this week for the Steelers, but Deontay should see the volume in that offense. Claypool out, Juju out as well. They might sprinkle in some James Washington into that passing attack, but I got Deante going off at 8 catches this week with 12 targets alone. It's a big projection, but I can just see it happening with the Steelers. He's going to be that guy with Najee Harris. It's pretty much the offense is going to go through Najee Harris first and then Deontay Johnson second. I don't like the matchup this week for Cortland Sutton versus the Eagles, so I have him as a bit of a step down. And then for the other guys, Elijah Moore is there. Christian Kirk's not a bad play. We don't know if Nuke's in or out. I don't know if that's been determined yet. And then you got Emmanuel Sanders, who's in a good spot. Russell Gage is in a good spot, and Jacoby Myers is one of my sits of the week. So I think over all of them, I'm starting Deontay.
Yeah. I think it's just you can't. Deontay Johnson, he's so good, and last year he had those drops, and we're like, if he doesn't drop the ball, he's great. Look at him now, and it's Fairmouth, Deontay Johnson, Najee Harris, and the Lions. It's the Lions. It's the worst team.
And Claypool's out too. So
exactly. Yash Patel, Robinson starting, but he ain't 100%, and the matchup ain't good. I can start either Kenyon Drake, A.J. Dillon, or Ramondre Stevenson in Robinson's place. Who should I start?
Ramondre.
I said I traded for scraps for Drake earlier this year just to fill in, a flex, whatever needed. I love Dillon as a running back. He's awesome, but he just needs to get the carries as opposed to Aaron Jones. Stevenson, you can't trust the New England, core of Harris's out. But even so, Stevenson could easily, have no problem, on a day. But I mean, Robinson, if you have him on your team and you've used him, he's played well. Sure, he's got, a bum injury, or he's working an injury out, but I trust him over all those guys to at least get in the end zone or get some fantasy points for you on the week.
Yeah, and Robinson's injury wasn't a big injury. I think it was just a heel contusion, so not something that's really going to limit him running the ball. Once he gets the wheels going, once he gets those feet moving under him, I think it's just going to be something that he's not even going to think about at the end of the day. So I'm starting James Robinson there as well. Hayden Rittenhouse, pick 2, Kyle Pitts, George Kittle, Jarvis Landry, or Emmanuel Sanders. I think one off the bat here has got to be George Kittle, right?
Yeah. I think I made the mistake of benching Kittle last week and putting and putting Goddard in just because Goddard's just been the fill. But I've had Kittle since day one. No idea when I should start him based on his injury status. I know that was one of his first week out of injury too. So I mean that's a mistake alone. But I mean Kittle, yeah. Don't know about the others. Pitts, sure. I mean, but even so, Pitt's best game was in London this year. Yeah,
was even on American soil, so we don't even know what we can do yet.
I don't know.
I think I go Pitts. I'm not a big favor of guy flexing like a tight end, but I think Pitts and then flex Kittle. I think Kittle has upside of a receiver 3 flex guy. It just gets George Kittle. He's been injured. I think. I don't know. It's just weird. I try to vouch for these veterans that we know so much of, and then they just go, well, you know what? Maybe not this year. Yeah. But I'm going to hammer down Pitts, Kittle, flex 1, tight end 1.
Like it. Yash Patel, I also got Schultz in the flex, but should I start Kenyon Drake, A.J. Dillon, Stevenson, or Schultz?
A lot of Stevenson in this show. A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you have a tight end in your flex, that means you don't trust the rest of your team at the same time. I feel like.
And there are very few that you would put in your flex to not trust those guys.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd give Stevenson a shot. I'd give him a straight up shot on the day just to see if he would get the bulk of the carries, being the fact that he's still going to split time with Harris out. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't mind Drake in that spot. The past couple of games, he's put up some good fantasy numbers. Last week, he saw 8 targets, 6 catches for 70 yards. So he is involved in the passing game, especially there. So if you're debating, it's Schultz or Kenyon Drake for me, especially versus the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs. Yeah.
Slide asks, 16-team deep league, half PPR, pick 2, Mike Davis projected the most out of these guys, Randall Cobb or Peoples-Jones. I mean, I think we got to start Peoples-Jones in this spot. He was electric last week. He is an athletic freak, so he's going to make the plays. Now OBJ's out of the picture. And then it comes between Randall Cobb for the Green Bay Packers or Mike Davis. Mike Davis has been awful this year for fantasy owners, but Randall Cobb hasn't been that great either. So I think I'm going with volume alone. So I'm going Peoples-Jones and Mike Davis.
You guys were killing Mike Davis earlier before I was listening.
We were. Yeah,
but
we are not a Mike Davis show.
No, I mean he's not what he was when he was the backup of McCaffrey. That's for sure. I mean, that's his true self, especially in a different offense too. Yeah. Cobb, you could throw him in with a Hail Mary and just hope that he gets 2 touchdowns, like he did 2 weeks ago, bum touchdowns. But Peoples-Jones has the most catches over 20 yards this year. Or he's averaging the highest, on deep balls this year out of any wide receiver. So, I mean, I would trust him. And Baker likes to throw deep. Granted, I don't trust him as a QB, but I mean, he likes to throw downfield.
He's good for that one chuck up for like 60-yard touchdown to Peoples-Jones.
Yeah, exactly.
Life after OBJ is so much smoother. It's looking like it's just like that was the problem. Let's get them going. And now they're throwing 60-yard bombs. So there are guys that they should have been throwing to.
Yeah. Hey, whatever gets you in the end zone.
Yeah. And we saw that last season when OBJ was down, and we saw the improvement of the Cleveland Browns passing offense as well. So there is something to say to that. Hopefully it doesn't trickle down to the Rams, because I own a lot of Rams and I would not like to see that happen. Yeah. Isaac Garza. Question, guys, do I start Russell Wilson versus the Packers or Teddy Bridgewater versus the Philadelphia Eagles? I'm going Russell Wilson here over Teddy B.
Yeah, Teddy B would not. I don't think he repeats of last week. That was a great game by Teddy Bridgewater.
Yep.
Yeah, and at the same time, like, I would trust Russ as a QB over Teddy any day. And
even with one arm.
Yeah, exactly. Plus,
even with 9 fingers.
Yeah. And if anything's going to work for the Broncos today, it's easily going to be the run game. Like, they're going to have no problem.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in, Isaac. Bars in the truck. Good morning. Good morning, Bars in the truck, in the tuck. I'm starting Zeke, and my league gives points for return yards, 1 point for 10 yards. Should I start Pollard or go with Darrell Williams and his expected, I like the quotations there, expected workload, full PPR? Thank you. What do you guys got?
So, I mean, I love Pollard. Like, you guys were talking about it last week too. I mean, he could be just as valuable on any team. He'd be an RB1 on any team. Williams won't have a problem tonight. Well, no, I don't know about that, because if anything's strong for the Raiders on the defensive front, I'd say it's more on the rush.
I'm okay with starting Pollard.
Yeah, especially with the return yard points, right? Pollard is the return guy, so he does have that advantage over Darrell Williams in the game there. So, I mean, I like Pollard there.
Yeah.
And actually, no, Gore could have the freaking carries this time. Take away from Darrell Williams.
Yeah. And a full PPR, Pollard does catch the ball. So even if he gets 4 catches, that's 4 points automatically there for you, plus the return, plus the yards after the catch. And Zeke is active. He was dealing with an issue from last week. So it's the possibility that his workload isn't as great as we were expecting it to be this week. So, yeah, I like Pollard over Williams. Should I start Bills D versus the Jets or Cardinals D versus the Panthers? Panthers are starting PJ Walker, but I think I'm going Bills D here. Bills D.
Even though the Bills lost last week, their D
still were a stud defense.
Yeah.
I think you have to. I mean, you don't know what PJ Walker, like XFL superstar. I love the guy. Great. He was awesome. But this is the NFL, and they are a little bit better than they were in the XFL. And I think the Cardinals defense is a good defense, Chandler Jones and those boys, but the Bills just have too much going for them. And it's going to be a slaughter game for them, I think, after last week's embarrassing loss to the Jacksonville Jags. So
McCaffrey's bad for the Jets. McCaffrey's still there in Carolina, so he's a definite factor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the Cardinals' only hope would be like the chance of a turnover, and that's it. You get protecting McCaffrey if you can. That's hard enough.
Agree with that. Thank you, Isaac. Monir N. Javonte Williams or Van Jefferson or J.D. McKissick?
Javonte. I think this. He said the Eagles have the. It's like here, take your 100-yard day and a touchdown. Just take it.
Yeah, and especially after last week, too, no problem. You saw that he works after the tackle, so even if he's running up the middle, he's gonna have no problem. I mean, Williams has a better chance out of all those guys of just getting 10 carries and 100 yards on the day. I feel like
I agree with that.
He's like Nick Chubb. He's like Nick Chubb when the Browns didn't know what they had. They had Carlos Hyde. They kept on starting Carlos Hyde, and then Nick Chubb got that one game, and they're like, "Oh, this guy's actually good," So like, let's go ahead forward with him.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. Higbee or Freiermuth?
Tell him, Chris.
The move. I mean, it's tricky because Ben's down so I had to adjust my rankings a bit for the tight ends this week. I did move Freiermuth back just because I don't know what to expect. I mean, I kind of have an idea what to expect out of Rudolph this week. We've seen him thrust into the starting position and not really fare too well. I was hoping that Haskins would get the spot start over Rudolph, but the Steelers went the other way, maybe just because it was short notice and Rudolph has more of a grasp on what's going on in Pittsburgh because he's been there for so long. So for me, with the fact that Robert Woods went down, I said Higbee was pretty much droppable when we heard about the OBJ news, but he still sees somewhat decent amount of volume for the Rams, and with Woods going down, I could definitely see Higbee catching a touchdown over Freiermuth this week. So reluctantly, I'm starting Higbee over Freiermuth. Reluctantly.
It's like the world's telling you, like, you preach it for weeks and weeks, and then you're like, drop this guy. You're like, nope, now it's time to go back on your word.
Exactly.
I just see Higbee getting in the end zone over over any day, especially with Stafford throwing the ball too. And they'll do so at the goal line, regardless of having Henderson too in the backfield.
Yep, I agree with that. Good luck. Garrett Yonker, sup fellas, sup Garrett. Zach Moss, who's been cleared to play. Jordan Howard, Steph's favorite backfield, or again, Ramondre Stevenson. A lot of Ramondre players that have him who want to start him, but again, we talked about it earlier. Sean even mentioned it, that he doesn't know who to trust in that backfield, and then you have another backfield that you don't know who to trust in the Eagles. I mean, you're an Eagles fan, like you stated, so you might have a little more insight on that for us, Sean. And then you got Zach Moss, who's cleared to play. I don't like one over the other, but if I was choosing, I think I'm going Jordan Howard.
So I respect that. Jordan Howard had an awesome game last week, and the problem with that is that I know who Jordan Howard is and who he's been in the past few seasons.
Exactly.
So it's hard to assume that he have a similar game, but if there's anybody that's going to get carries on the goal line for the running back core for the Eagles right now, it'd be Howard. So he's got a better chance to get in the end zone. Zach Moss is playing the Jets. So I think Singletary and Moss will have no problem eating up that defense today. And then, Stevenson, just zero trust. So I'd give Jordan Howard a try simply because I'm an Eagles fan. I feel like he'd get in the end zone, especially in the red zone. But other than that, I mean, Zach Moss, you'd be safe with him over Jordan Howard too on NBA.
I feel like we're going to have a Gainwell day because 2 weeks ago it was Boston Scott. Last week it was Jordan Howard. And then this week it's just going to be that Gainwell day that everyone was expecting 3 weeks ago.
Yep, everyone.
I've transitioned from Gainwell to Scott to Howard this week, and I was off on every week. I started Gainwell when Scott went off. Started Scott when Howard went off. So.
Yeah, of course. Stefan refuses to talk about anything Philadelphia Eagles backfield. So,
I've been burned one too many times.
Last question, guys. I have Aaron Jones, Cordero Patterson, Ezekiel Elliott, and Joe Mixon. I need to trade one before the deadline. Who goes? Zeke. I mean, I think I'm trading Zeke. Yeah, Zeke or Jones. I like Patterson for the run. But who out of these four, who do you think would fetch the most return?
Aaron Jones, I think.
Yeah, just because everybody knows exactly who he is every single year. Cordero Patterson's just hot. So, I mean, you could dish him for anybody that knows who exactly he is this year. Zeke, I don't trust.
No one does, yeah.
Mixon could have a bum week. He has just as many bum weeks as he has electric weeks.
Yeah,
that's what sucks. So I don't know. I'd go with Zeke.
Yeah, I'm trading away Zeke there. Good luck, Isaac. All right, right on. Last week, Sean, we're just going to get to some props here. Last week, Will went 2 for 3. We could have swore he was going to go 3 for 3 with his, except Stefan didn't see it, with his Matt Stafford 20-point over. I got a couple here. Give us some of your bigger props of the week that you think you're cashing in on.
So I'll give you 3, and then I can give you one questionable one that people would hate too. But
I like it.
The one that I like based on the corner matchup this week is Marvin Jones over 53.5 receiving yards. I'm just saying that I'm not a Jaguars believer by any means, but just simply for who he's going up to this week and the fact that the Jaguars are riding high from last week too. I've got faith in him that he'd get over 53.5.
Yeah, I like that one.
I mean, I like it. No one else is really catching them. No one wants to catch the ball there. So, I mean, someone's got to do it.
No, thank you. Deante Johnson just eating. I simply over half a touchdown. So whenever we have projections listed for any players on prop bets for Better Fantasy, if they're going to get in the end zone, we list it as a half. So I have them over half a touchdown, just getting in the end zone, but also 14.5 fantasy points too on top of that. So that's against New England. Not too sure how. I feel like it's be a low scoring game regardless. I don't trust Baker throwing the ball that well. But it's Deante getting the end zone over anything. And then my lock is just simply Tom Brady over 21.9 fantasy points on the week.
You hear that, Chris?
I heard it. No, I'm a believer in Tom Brady, man. I had him as one of my bold sits a couple weeks ago, and it absolutely bit me in the rear. I'll never do it again. He is the GOAT, and he's the GOAT for a reason, and he's playing the Washington football team. So the matchup is as juicy as it gets.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And I know Will was close with Stafford. I assumed that he locked last week. So I want to fill in another quarterback that I trust, and it would be Brady, this week.
Yeah, I like it. And then you have one you said you had one that's a little bit might anger some people.
Deontay Johnson under 77 receiving yards this week.
All right. I like it.
And that's because Rudolph is throwing the football.
Yeah.
And Najee is going to eat no matter what. So, just feed him the ball. They're going to realize that that's safe. Rudolph is a check down guy. He's going to be throwing the ball to Najee too. So, I see Deontay getting targets. I don't see him getting big plays at the end of the day.
I like it. I mean, it's such a hype train for Deontay. So, it's like you'd expect this to be the one where he gets under. And last week, I was so confident with Will. I'm like, yes, Zeke Elliott under what was it, 79.5 rushing yards?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he finished with 76. I'm like, I'm like, man, what do you know? What do you know?
Yep.
100%. That one was kind of like a salty one for me. So
I got a trio of props here that are on the app as well. I got Mike White under 236.5 passing yards against the Bills defense. I think that's going to be a lock for the Bills shutting him down. This is the week that the Mike White hype train kind of goes off the rails. I got Mike Pittman over 72 receiving yards against the Jags. The guy's been absolutely electric for the Colts this season. And then I got Najee Harris over 83.5 rushing yards. I think that's printing money right there. So, Steph, do you got any props for us?
So one I've got Tannehill rushing touchdown.
Okay.
Jonathan Taylor with the yards and an anytime touchdown, and then Deante Johnson rushing yards, anytime touchdown. Those are the ones I'm like, these are like I know there's no such things as locks except for Dorhan knows and actual locks. But I think without Tannehill having Derrick Henry there, it's like that little, run around, little Jordan-esque touchdown run he loves to do. JT was my new hot take of the year is he's going to be the rushing king. I think he's going to have over 100. I think he's going to have a touchdown. And I think Dearness Johnson has over 85 in a rushing touchdown. So those are the ones I would parlay. Those are the ones I would take single bet, but I'm betting my mortgage on at least JT over an anytime touchdown. That's my lock of the day.
I like it.
Yeah, awesome. I'm riding with Dearness no matter what.
Yeah, it's a ride or die with that Dearness.
It's going to be that dude this week.
And that's only based on one game this year that I have full faith in.
Exactly.
And then next week when Nick Chubb is back, it's going to be like, oh, Dearness Johnson, I don't want him anymore. Yeah. But then if anything happens, he's going to be like that thrust back into like back and forth side of things.
And so Kareem Hunt might be back next week as well. I think he was eligible to come back this week, but they kind of waited.
That's the best running back room, I think, in the NFL. I think that's the best trio of running backs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
definitely up there, man.
Take notes, Philly.
All right, we got a couple more questions before we end here. Dirty money, pick one: Thielen, Debo, or McLaurin. Great problem to have there. Great trio.
McLaurin. It's just matchup says. I mean, Thielen he's spotty, and as Osborne's been taking kind of some targets away. Debo, I like him, but my boy's starting to get back in the groove. So Ayuk is taking some of that. And I think McLaurin just has that matchup. I mean, Tampa's good run defense, but terrible pass defense.
Yeah, and if anything's going to work for Washington on the offensive front, it would be Scary Terry. So, I mean, I trust him too. And Debo too. I mean, who do they got? They're playing against the Rams?
The Rams, yeah. He's got Jalen Ramsey, I'm pretty sure. So.
Yeah. But, I mean, Debo has played, well for a majority of the year too. So, I don't know. I'd go with McLaurin too.
Yep, I go McLaurin there, especially with the opportunity of my favorite time, garbage time.
Oh, yeah.
Zion, Amlani, Dan Arnold, or Dalton Schultz at tight end today. Give me Dalton Schultz, especially with Blake Jarwin down. Just love the opportunity that he's had this season. He sees, I think, over 5 targets per game. Dan Arnold's a decent streamer, but if I own a tight end like Dalton Schultz, who could finish as a top 3 tight end on the week, I'm starting Dalton Schultz.
Yeah, Dalton Schultz over that. I mean, plus against the Falcons too. Take it.
Yeah, take it. Bo Ryan, Curtin, Godwin, or Terry? It's a tough one.
Godwin's got that foot injury.
Yep.
I think Terry.
I like Terry in this spot.
Yeah, and I mean, Brady's got other people to throw to at the end of the day. It's Terry or nothing, really, to bring home the offense. So
Tyler Johnson.
Anybody that's riding with anybody on the Redskins today, I have faith in you. So, or I pray for you. So, good luck.
Oh, that's it? Oh, I thought it was one more.
Right in. Sean, we appreciate you joining us. That's Sean Corman from Better Fantasy. They are sponsoring us this whole month of November. So go download the app. It's in the description. And at the end of the day, it's a slick app. It's fun to use. And one of the reasons why we love it more than the fantasy aspect is the prop betting. Prop betting is a tool that's in my analyst toolbox. I use it to break down matchups and everything else. So, Sean, let them know where they can find you, brother, and have a good one. Good luck in Week 10.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me. Check out Pick'em Pools today. Get those matchups right for your league and anybody else. Check it out, BettorFantasy.com, Google Play Store, Apple Play Store, or go ahead, download. You're good.
Awesome.
Now, really quickly before we let you go, because I didn't forget about our little bet that we were supposed to have.
That's right.
I'm actually going to take the over on Deontay Johnson's yards.
Okay.
That's going to be the one I'm going to take. You convinced me a little bit, but I'm gonna say over. And what was it, 78 or 75?
I got him at 77 receiving yards.
All right, give me 78 or higher.
Okay. No problem. That's a deal.
Lock it in. Lock it in. I like it.
Thank you, Sean.
Yep.
Have a good one.
Sean.
Thank you.
Good luck, man.
We'll see you.
See ya. Again, thank you to Sean for joining. He's from Better Fantasy, which is a new free-to-play app that lets you sync your fantasy football league and bet on the matchups. You can cash out for gift cards when your bets hit and even help raise money for charity along the way. It's available for iPhone and Android in all 50 states. It's there in the description. The link is there. Also, the link to all the uSTADIUM our last remaining starts and sits. So wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks, you're firing them up with Russ back in the lineup.
Yeah, I'm going to fire these rapidly. It's going to be easy. Russ is back. Russ is going to be cooking. I think this man is going to be going back to what he had the first 2 weeks, 100 yards a game each first 2 weeks. Geno Smith comes in and he kind of wet the bed, and then he came for 12 or 13 after that, and they're coming off a bye week. I just think Tyler Lockett's back to being a starting receiver 2 on your team. Fire him up, 5 catches, 66 yards, and 1 touchdown.
I like it. Start for me, running back from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Leonard Fournette. Since week 4, Job Thief Lenny is his new nickname. He put his grasp around the primary running back role in Tampa Bay, averaging 64.2% of the snap share over that time. The best part about Fournette, though, is in this offense is that he's been nicely involved in the passing game, a workload that many people thought Gio Bernard was going to take over, but Leonard Fournette has absolutely locked that down. He's 4th in routes run at the position at 165 on the year. He's 10th in receiving yards for the RBs, 9th in receptions for the RBs, and he sees 11.4% of the target share for the Bucs. On the year, he's got 2 RB1 finishes and 2 RB2 finishes. A positive game script is in hand against the Washington football team. So my week 10 projection, 16 touches or 16 carries, 80 yards, a touchdown, 4 catches, and 30 yards through the air. All right, let's move on. A sit for you this week is Titans running back Adrian Peterson. Why are we sitting Adrian Peterson, Steph?
10 carries, 21 yards, and a touchdown. His debut, it was good. It was nice to get your feet where you're off the couch, not eating chips anymore. But Jeremy McNichols had 7 for 24. He had 3 catches and 3 targets for 11 yards. And then Foreman is 529. And it's just, I don't know. It's just, there's too many running backs, and they're just probably going to go to a hot hand. I mean, I think he does see good carries, but I just don't think the matchup against your New Orleans Saints that have a top 5 run defense. And in an offense that was the most run-heavy offense is now going to lean on their one receiver that they have on that field left, and A.J. Brown. So I don't see a productive day from Adrian Peterson. I'll have him at 12 carries, 40, maybe 50 yards, and no touchdown this week.
He looks weird wearing number 8.
I hate it.
I don't like starting it. Mike Newhand, Mike Williams, or Cordero Patterson rest of season half PPR. Mike Williams has gone dormant. Keenan Allen has seen the bulk of the targets in that offense, so I think defenses are adjusting towards Mike Williams. So give me the floor of Cordero Patterson, man. It's a great story. Give me that in a half PPR. One of my sits of the week, tight end Zach Ertz versus the Carolina Panthers. Look, unless you have one of the top 3 to 4, maybe even 5 set them and forget them tight ends, they should probably be streamed based on the matchup for the most of it. And Carolina isn't a great matchup for the tight ends on the season versus opposing tight ends. They've only allowed 165 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns through 9 weeks. So the Oppo tight end, it's not a good spot for Zach, who is getting AJ Green and possibly Nuke back. Kyler Murray is still up in the air. I haven't got anything to update you on that.
It's not looking good.
Yeah, he's averaging 8.8 fantasy points per game. And this week, I'm just not looking to put Zach Ertz into my lineup. I have him starting on the better fantasy matchup that I have there, but that's only because I don't have any other options. He is seeing about 5 targets per game, but I got him as projected to go off with 3 catches, 35 yards, no TD, so a pretty dormant day. Other tight ends, I'm comfortable starting over Zach Ertz this week. The opposite side tight end, he plays on Jacksonville now. Dan Arnold, Noah Fant, and possibly Ricky Seals-Jones with Logan Thomas out.
I like it.
Yep. I think we're both sitting Antonio Gibson this
Don't
week.
even, yeah.
Yeah, we're both sitting him. Just some quick notes on that. The Bucs defense was one of the top rushing defenses in the league. They have taken a bit of a step back, but that isn't against the rushing running back. That's against the pass catching running back. And like we said before, in that offense, Antonio Gibson just isn't that guy. So we are both sitting Antonio Gibson on the week. You're starting Carson Wentz, yeah?
I'm not even going into it because there's no need to. He is matchup proof right now. He is balling. It's Carson Wentz of MVP days, baby. This guy is 3 touchdowns a game. He's not having any turnovers. He's actually being smart. He developed a receiver 1 in Michael Pittman. He's got that offensive line. He's got the best rushing back in the NFL right now. Life is good if you're a Carson Wentz fan, if you're a Colts fan. Start Carson Wentz. He's a top 12 quarterback. I think he finishes in the top 8 going into the rest of the season. Start Carson Wentz. And if you have someone else that is, you want to cut. But I think having him and like a better, like say, if a Josh Allen there, you might want to have him on the bench, but get Carson Wentz because if you don't do it now, you're going to regret it.
Yep, I agree. Let's get into our 2 sleeper starts and then Boulder sits. Sleeper start for you this week is your boy, Brandon Ayuk.
Oh, I held on to him, and I'm so glad I didn't drop him. I'm so glad. It was painful, 10 weeks. It was excruciating. But you know what? Ayuk is finally carving out that role again. He's finally out of the doghouse. He's finally over that whatever it is that he had. He had a touchdown last game. He had 8 targets. He's 2 touchdowns in the season. He kind of fell off after that touchdown earlier in the season, but it looks like Jimmy Garoppolo is the guy to feed him the ball. The chemistry's there. Debo, I think it takes some time off of him because you don't want to overdo him, get him hurt. Kitto's still kind of injured. Ayuk is finally the guy that we drafted him to be, and he will be tomorrow night on Monday night against the Rams. And yes, I know the matchup's crazy, but fire Ayuk up for 5 catches, 80 yards, and a touchdown.
I like it. I like the stat line there. I
don't want to go too crazy,
Yep. No, I like it. My sleeper start of the week, and I love this guy, especially in DFS plays, is wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints, Deante Johnson. Another player who does a lot when he is on the field, which isn't often. He's averaging only 35% of the snaps, but 3 of the last 4 games, New Orleans Saints wide receiver Deontay Harris has seen 7 or more targets in the passing game while adding at least 56 yards through those games. If you are in a punt return or kick return league, he's first in the NFL in kickoff return yards per attempt and second in the NFL in punt return yards per attempt. He's emerging as one of the Saints' top pass catching wide receivers. 6 catches versus the Falcons last week, his best week of the season. My week 10 projection for the kid, 5 for 50. And I'm going to go with the touchdown here in this spot just based on the matchup. I originally had him at 0.5 TD, but I'm going to give him the TD this week.
A little generous this week.
Yeah, I like it. Let's get into our Boulder sits. You are sitting Elijah Mitchell this week. Tell us why.
It's just the matchup. That Rams team is good. They shut the run down. I don't know. I don't see it like they had last week against the Titans. They don't have anyone that's crazy good like Elijah Mitchell was, but like AP, 10 carries, 21 yards. Foreman had less than 30 yards. McNichols didn't do good. Like the trend is you don't play running backs against this Rams defense, especially on a Monday night. I think the Rams shut down the run. I think it's kind of a play from behind kind of a thing for Jimmy G. I think it's more of a passing kind of a game because they're going to be down, I think, 14 points at some point, and they're going to have to start passing the ball. Elijah Mitchell, yes, he's good, but I just don't think the matchup this week favors him to be the RB2 that you paid your fab for. Because I know no one drafted him, but I think this is the week that you want to bench him. I've got him at 15 carries, 60 yards, and I'm going to go 0.3 on that touchdown.
I like it. All right, my bold sit of the week, and this is a big one. I'm going to get roasted for this one.
I love it.
It's wide receiver from the Arizona running back, James Conner. And in the words of Drake, okay, that's fine. All right. I get it. Last week's RB1 in fantasy points, 40 points, 3 TDs, yada, yada, yada. I heard it. Edmonds went down the last week, pole vaulting Conner into fantasy greatness. This week, though, I think Eno Benjamin cuts into a little bit of his playing time. They did say that they wanted to give him the ball a bit more. So I don't know if we'll see James Conner do what he did last week. He's not okay, he's not necessarily a sit, but I think he's a guy that you have to look at that he's not going to hit his projections this week. If you were breaking down his league leading touchdowns, I think a lot of that comes from the luck that the Cardinals end up on that 1 to 2 yard line, that goal line a bunch of times. Most of his TDs come from that spot. He's got 6 of them from the 1 to 2 yard line. He's got 1 TD from the 4, 1 TD from the 9, and 2 from the 10, between the 10 and 20. So look, you're obviously not sitting the guy based on the matchup and what his floor is going to be, especially with Edmonds out of the picture. But if I had to pick one player to get bowled on, one player who I don't think will meet his projections on the week, and I've seen his projections anywhere from 15 to 18 points in PPR. I don't think he hits those. My projection for James Conner is 15 carries, 55 yards, and a touchdown. So it's a decent day. He's not necessarily a full sit, but he's a guy that I don't think is going to finish as especially RB1 with 40 points on the
expectations are high in this guy right now.
Yeah, and the Panthers are 4th best versus the run, allowing only 4 TDs to the position on the season. They are surprisingly really good versus the running back on the season. They are bum everywhere else, but against the run, man, they are decent. They can stuff the run. And if Kyler Murray doesn't play, I can see the Carolina Panthers paying more attention to the running game and forcing Colt McCoy to throw the ball. So again, not necessarily a smash sit, but just a guy you really got to temper your expectations on him. It's bold. I get it. Based on what he did last week, based on his floor, you're going to put him into your lineups, but don't think he's going to give you what he gave you last week. Steph, that's it for us, brother. Great show. We went hour and a half this week. Yep. I appreciate Sean coming on from Better Fantasy. They're sponsoring us the whole month of November. So make sure you're downloading that app. It's in the description, as well as the uSTADIUM app. Takes is right around the corner. I cannot wait for you guys to experience the game-changing aspect of betting on your sports takes, winning money on your sports takes when it does roll out. And head to the uSTADIUM app, ask your questions there. We will be answering them all the way up until the season's done and beyond, dynasty questions and whatnot. But check us out. We're blowing up on the TikTok. We're all getting on it. The YouTube shorts are lighting up. Check us out on Twitter, and most importantly, head to the uSTADIUM app and get a hold of us there. That's what we check out first before anything else, is that uSTADIUM app. Stefan, let them know where they can find you, brother.
I tell you, every week my DMs are open. If I get it wrong, I get it wrong. Bash me for it, but when I get it right, you're gonna hear it. So Bearish Bombs on Twitter, the Bearish at uSTADIUM. Any last minute questions? We have 20 minutes. Shoot to the app. Get us, any questions. I'll be on the app right after the show's ending. I'll make sure I answer whatever I can. Help you win your league. Help you win your this week quarterback questions. Shoot, we're there for you guys.
Yep. Make sure to like the stream, subscribe to the channel. The uSTADIUM network is always growing. There was a big announcement on the Snacks and Sunny show yesterday, so make sure you go check that out. It is a big one. And that's it for us, guys. Toodles.
Have a good one, guys.
See you. Good luck.